Aggrieved residents after learning that the remains of Kada Scott, the missing Philadelphia woman, have been found.
I don't give a fuck. I came out my fucking house by myself to come look for this girl. By myself to come look for this girl. I don't fucking know her. Y'all found her. Y'all fucking found her.
Expert search for a 23-year-old Philadelphia woman. Kada Scott was last seen 4 days ago. Her family says she was at work one moment and gone the next. They also say she was being harassed over the phone by a stranger. And Steve, you spoke with Kada's family tonight. What did they tell you?
Well, this is where she went to work late Saturday night, and this is the same spot where she never came home from work early Sunday morning.
I think it's definitely wrong. She wouldn't just leave and not contact anyone, none of her friends, family.
People ride so fast, they wouldn't be able to see it anyway.
Two aunts stapled missing flyers where their niece, 23-year-old Kada Scott, was last seen before she just vanished.
October 4th, 2025. Just after 10 p.m., 23-year-old Kada Scott clocked in for her overnight shift at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill, an assisted living facility in Philadelphia. Less than 30 minutes later, she walked out. Her car remained in the parking lot, her phone went dark, and Kada Scott vanished into the Philadelphia night. What happened next exposed a catastrophic failure in our justice system, one that asks a question every American city must answer. How many warnings do we ignore before it's too late? Kada Scott was not just another missing person. She was a Penn State graduate, a former cheerleader who brought energy to every room she entered. A woman who had just competed as Miss Philadelphia Township in the Miss USA pageant that summer, her first time stepping onto a stage like that. Her father, Kevin, would later tell reporters she loved the experience and wanted to do it again. Welcome to Caught in the Web True Crime Stories. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn the notification icon. She was building a healthcare business, designing her own clothing brand, and dreaming about a future that would never come. Her family knew something was wrong immediately. Kada always had her phone charged, always responded to texts. When her mother, Kim Matthews, couldn't reach her the morning of October 5th, when calls went straight to voicemail, they filed a missing person report.
What do you think's going on here? What do you think happened?
I have no idea. That's the problem. We're trying to piece it together. She went into a job for a normal shift, and she didn't finish the shift and come home. So that's when the problem started. And that's where we're at right now, trying to figure out what's going on, where she's at, when did she actually leave the facility, and everything else. We're trying to figure things out right now.
And I heard from Mom, she's a real good kid, about as good as you can be. And this is not like her not to call you guys almost daily, hourly.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a close relationship. Any spending the night or going out for the day, they definitely in contact with each other every day. She will never disappear for 24 hours and not contact her mom or her little sister, at least a phone call or text and say, hey, I'm on my way home, or I'm here and I'll be home later. She never does that, never.
Philadelphia police found her car still parked at work. No surveillance footage existed in the parking lot. Her iPad, iPhone, and Apple Watch were gone. She had taken her belongings with her. But here's what made investigators especially concerned. In the days before she disappeared, Kada had told family and friends that someone was harassing her through phone calls. She didn't provide names. She didn't give details, just warnings that went unheeded until it was too late. Police Captain John Craig told the media what every officer fears hearing in a missing person case: no cell phone activity, no social media posts, complete radio silence from a young woman who was digitally connected to the world just hours before. On October 15th, 11 days into the search, police discovered physical evidence at an abandoned middle school near Aubrey Arboretum in Germantown. Kada's debit card, her pink phone case, her glasses, a card with her name on it. Items that told a story investigators didn't want to believe. The next day, they arrested 21-year-old Keon King. Cell phone data placed King in communication with Kada. Evidence showed he met her shortly after she left her workplace. King was the last person believed to be in contact with her when she went offline. Police found his vehicle, a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry, tracked across multiple Philadelphia neighborhoods: Mount Airy, Center City, Grays Ferry, Southwest Philadelphia. Investigators also discovered a burned 2008 black Hyundai Accent, stolen on October 3rd, one day before Kada vanished. That vehicle had been torched on October 7th, then towed, compacted, and destroyed at a junkyard before police could examine it. King was charged with kidnapping, false imprisonment, stalking, and recklessly endangering another person. Bail was set at $2.5 million. But here's where the system failed Kada Scott. Keon King should never have been free to kidnap anyone in October 2025, because in January of that same year, he had allegedly done this before. Video footage posted to social media captured King climbing over a fence at a woman's North Philadelphia home. The footage shows him creeping around the property, peering into bedroom windows as the terrified woman inside yells at him. The woman told King to go away. She called police. 1 hour later, according to prosecutors, King kidnapped that same woman, threw her into his car, and strangled her. She survived. King was arrested, charged with kidnapping and strangulation. The case had video evidence, clear documentation of his stalking behavior, followed by a violent abduction. The charges were withdrawn when the victim failed to appear in court. But it gets worse. In November 2024, just months before that January incident, King allegedly broke into his ex-girlfriend's Strawberry Mansion home through her window. He refused to leave for 2 hours. When she wouldn't lie on the bed with him, prosecutors say he grabbed her by the neck and tried to strangle her. He threw a rock through her window as he fled. King was arrested again, charged with burglary, strangulation, and related crimes. Prosecutors were in communication with the victim initially, but she stopped returning their calls after King's harassment continued and escalated following his arrest. When she failed to appear at 3 court hearings, the charges were withdrawn in February 2025. 70% of victims in domestic violence cases fail to appear in Philadelphia courts. The reasons vary. Some lack transportation, some fear retaliation. Many correctly understand that speaking out could escalate the danger they face. If you've watched this video up to this point, we'd love to hear your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. But in King's case, prosecutors had video evidence that could have moved the case forward without witness testimony. They chose not to pursue it. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office requested nearly $1 million bail for King in that January kidnapping case. The judge set it at $200,000. King posted $20,000 and walked out almost immediately. He was free to continue his pattern, free to target another young woman. On October 18, 14 days after Kada Scott disappeared, police received what Deputy Commissioner John Stanford called a very specific anonymous tip.
This Saturday night, I'm Walter Perez. We're following breaking news. Investigators have found female human remains in their search for Kada Scott. Investigators say an anonymous tip led them to remains in a shallow grave in the Germantown section of the city. That site was near an abandoned elementary school near Aubrey Arboretum, where investigators had been searching. The medical examiner will soon formally identify the remains. Today marks 2 weeks since 23-year-old Kada Scott went missing. Earlier this week, police arrested 21-year-old Keon King and charged him with kidnapping in connection with Scott's disappearance.
Officers returned to the wooded area behind the abandoned Ada Lewis Middle School, where they had found Kada's belongings days earlier. The woods were dense, heavily overgrown, difficult to search comprehensively. They found a shallow grave. Inside was the body of a young woman. DNA testing confirmed what Kada's family already feared in their hearts. The remains were hers. District Attorney Larry Krasner held a press conference on October 20th. He admitted what everyone was thinking. We could have done better. He called the decision to release King on bail in that prior case a failure that may have had tragic consequences. He acknowledged that the January kidnapping case should have been prosecuted using the video evidence, even without the victim's testimony. He took responsibility. But Kada Scott is still gone. Keon King now faces additional charges: arson, causing catastrophe, conspiracy, tampering with evidence, and unauthorized use of an automobile. Prosecutors say his mobile device places him at every location connected to the crime. Murder charges are expected as the investigation continues. Meanwhile, other victims have come forward since King's arrest, revealing what authorities now call a pattern of predatory behavior toward women. Kada's parents released a statement through prosecutors, their words heavy with grief. It is with profound sadness that we share the tragic passing of our beloved daughter, Kada Scott. Our hearts are shattered. Kada was deeply, deeply loved. Her light, kindness, and beautiful spirit will forever remain in our hearts. The Scott family is now seeking justice. They trust Philadelphia authorities to hold those responsible accountable to the fullest extent of the law. But justice cannot bring Kada back. It cannot erase the 2 weeks her family spent searching, hoping, praying for a miracle that never came. This case raises questions that extend far beyond Philadelphia. When do we stop treating domestic violence and stalking as isolated incidents and recognize them as the warning signs they are? When do we empower prosecutors to move forward with cases even when traumatized victims cannot face their abusers in court? When do we acknowledge that cash bail systems allow dangerous people to buy their freedom? Kada Scott's story is not unique. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. 1 in 4 women will experience severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetimes. Stalking affects more than 7 million people annually, with 80% of femicide victims having been stalked by their eventual attacker. The pattern is clear. The escalation is predictable. Stalking leads to harassment. Harassment leads to physical violence. Physical violence leads to attempted strangulation, one of the strongest predictors of eventual homicide in domestic violence cases. And yet, we continue to let perpetrators walk free when victims, understandably terrified, cannot or will not testify. Should prosecutors have the power to proceed with cases when video and forensic evidence exist, even without victim cooperation? Should judges consider patterns of behavior when setting bail, not just the charges in front of them? Should we treat stalking with the seriousness it deserves as a precursor to more violent crimes? These are not rhetorical questions. They are policy decisions that determine whether the next young woman survives or becomes another statistic. The investigation into Kada Scott's passing continues. Anyone with information is urged to contact Philadelphia Police at 2156-86-TIPS. For those experiencing domestic violence or stalking, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 at 1-800-799-7233. Kada Scott's family has asked for privacy as they grieve. They have also asked that Kada be remembered not for how she was taken from this world, but for the light she brought to it, a light that shone on stages, in classrooms, in nursing homes where she cared for the elderly, and in the hearts of everyone who knew her. She deserved better. We all do. And it is past time we built a system that protects potential victims instead of enabling their attackers. It's a community-based problem requiring community-based solutions. But it starts with acknowledging that every warning sign ignored, every charge withdrawn, every dangerous person released on bail is a choice. And those choices have consequences. Kada Scott's family will never get another chance. The question is, will we learn from this tragedy, or will we wait until the next young woman disappears before we act?